Hi everyone, this is Heba from My Little Journal, and today I'm going to be sharing my vacation album with you guys. Now this one is done with, and I thought I would do a little flip through, kind of take you through the process of how I document our vacations. I do use a separate album. I don't create my vacation layouts in my project life. I use a separate album for that, and I call them my little vacation albums. I usually can fit 2 to 3 vacations in one album, and I like to use the 12 by 12 size because I feel like I get a lot of pictures. I take a lot of pictures throughout our vacation, and I want to document them, and I don't want to feel restricted. Now I'm changing it up this year. I'm moving into a 9 by 12, and the reason behind that is because my 9 by 12, or I have a 9 by 12 album ready for me. It's a brand new album, haven't used it yet, and I don't have a 12 by 12, so it makes more sense to use the albums I have. You guys know I like to kind of use what I have first before I purchase something new, and I just feel like I need to use that album because if I don't, it's just going to sit there for years. But anyways, it's going to be a process for me to move into a 9 by 12 just because I love my 12 by 12s, and I have more pockets and more space to document my pictures and cards and all that good stuff. But it's okay. I'm going to try it in a 9 by 12 and see how that works, especially that our Philippines vacation was longer. It was 20 days, so I don't want to feel restricted in the space I have. And I think having just one album for that vacation is going to work really well. I'm going to start and share with you how I usually document my vacations. Now, what I do is I always start with one of these dividers from Becky Higgins. I used to get them from Amazon. I don't know if they still have them on Amazon. Actually, I think I used to get them from Michaels, and now I get them from Amazon because Michaels doesn't carry Becky Higgins Project Life stuff anymore. Anyways, I add the destination and then the month and the year. This was back in 2014, so my style has definitely changed. And by the way, I want to apologize from all the glare just because I have to have my lighting, and it's going to be way too dark if I don't have my lighting, so there's going to be some glare. I always start with a 12 by 12 photo, and then I break down my pictures day to day. So I will document day one, literally from the moment we travel, airplane pictures, airport pictures, all that good stuff. I journal about that day, and then we're still in day one. We got to San Francisco. What we did, I just try to add as many pictures as I possibly can. I use a lot of cards and a lot of journaling, just little things like that. And the journaling, what I do when I'm traveling, I always take my little Hobonichi daily journal. I use the A6 and I journal about that day. And when I start working in my project life or my vacation album, I have somewhere to look back on and kind of figure out what we did that day. So we are still in day one. Now we're in day two. I try to make it noticeable so whoever's looking through the album can see what we were doing for that day. And I mix and match the heck out of my cards, you guys. I just go with it, whatever goes well with a picture, or whatever, like if I have cards that are vacation themed, anything like that. Like this Studio Calico card, I had that in my stash forever, and it worked so well with the Golden Gate Bridge and Stay Golden. So of course I was going to use it on my spread. Day 3, we're in day 4. This trip was with my husband. He had a business trip and he took us along, so we literally just stayed there for 4 days. And you can see the 4 days I ended up with 12 spreads for 4 days. I end up with a lot of ephemera when we travel, and I don't want to get rid of it. It doesn't fit in the pockets sometimes, or it doesn't go well with my spread. I add all my ephemera in these little envelopes. These are also Becky Higgins envelopes. I do get these from Amazon now because, as I said earlier, Michaels doesn't carry them anymore. 2017 trip to Austin, Texas. My husband and I started our family in Austin. We have a lot of memories there, so we decided to take the kids. They were born there, all that good stuff. I think my son was 4 when we moved out of Texas, and we moved to Dubai. So we wanted to take them on this little trip, which was a 7-day trip. Now, for this vacation, I decided to use Ali Edwards' Week in the Life. I actually don't do Week in the Life, but they were on sale, and I decided to buy the kit while it was on sale. It was so cheap, I can't even remember. I think the whole kit was like 15 bucks. And I bought it because I thought it would be perfect to document our vacation. And because I like to document day by day, the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the days of the week cards would work perfectly. So I still mixed and matched. I used a lot of Studio Calico cards in this one, but I did also use some of the cards from that kit. You can see I still added the day 2 and day 3 on there. This was a great trip. We got to see a lot of our friends, and we got to take the kids to NASA. My daughter's a huge fan, so we went to Houston for a night just so we can take my daughter to NASA. And I just love how these spreads turned out. I even added some more 12 by 12s, and just using that Week in the Life worked really well. I wasn't able to do it, or I'm not going to be able to do it for my Philippines vacation, just because we were there for 20 days, so the Week in the Life wouldn't work. But it worked really well for our Austin vacation just because we stayed there for a week. We actually stayed 8 days just because our flight was canceled and we had to stay an extra day. But in general, we stayed for 7 days, so the Week in the Life kit worked well. I added a lot of embellishments. I love to add my embellishments, my flare buttons. I have so many flare buttons, so they work really well in these albums. And this is where we were supposed to travel that day, but our flight was canceled, so I even journaled about that. I used my crap little flare button from Future Craft, and I journaled here too, and you can see I added 14 hours in the airport. Was horrendous. I still had some ephemera, so I just added them in my little envelope. And you can see that I don't have a lot of space to do my Philippines album, so that's why I decided to work in my 9x12 album and not have to worry about adding my Philippines vacation to this album. It would be just way too tight. But anyways, this is how I usually document my vacation, and I will definitely share more about my process and all that good stuff when I'm working in my vacation album going to the Philippines. I do want to work on day 1 from our Philippines vacation, so keep watching to see the process for that. Okay, you guys, let's start working in my vacation album. I'm going to start by using this 9x12 photo of one of the islands we were visiting. It was gorgeous, you guys. I can't even explain it. But anyways, I'm going to be keeping it simple and just using my Kelly Perky Highline Alpha stamps to add Philippines to my picture. And I believe I probably end up adding a little puffy heart and calling this one done. For my vacation spreads this time around, I decided to print out my journaling. I used to add little journaling cards and fill them out with journaling, but because I already had journaled while we were traveling, I decided to just print those out and add them in a 6x8 pocket. It just made the process so much easier, and I don't have to worry about like journaling on each individual card and adding them to my spread, and they're just going to take up a lot of space. I'd rather fill them up with photos. So I'm going to be using my Feed Your Craft. I believe this is the inline alpha stamps. I'm not sure, but I will add all the links for everything I use in this video for you guys if you want to grab yourself one of these stamps or any of my tape runners or anything like that. I add everything down below. But I'm going to use the box to stamp on my journaling or above my journaling, and then I'm gonna add day 1 and 2 because this journaling is all about day 1 and 2. We traveled for 27 hours, and really we left June 1st and arrived in the Philippines June 3rd. So we missed out on a whole day of our life, you guys. And it's really confusing when you get there. You're just like, wait, no, it's June 2nd, but really it's June 3rd. because of the time difference and the time that you were traveling. It was just confusing. And I journaled about that and journaled about our adventure flying from the States to the Philippines because we got stuck in China. We were so tired. It was just a very long journey, and I had to journal about it, and I had to document the this whole journey to get to the Philippines. But anyways, when I work on my vacation albums, this is how my process works, or this is how I start my process. I always add all my photos in a folder on my iPhone, and this particular vacation was the Philippines, so I add it under Philippines. That way I have all my pictures in one folder. Then I go in and choose the pictures I want to use for each day. Now, the great part about your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever the case is you have the time and day on each photo. So it's a simple process to go through it and figure out which photos were taken on which day. And I go ahead and print out the pictures I want. Then I decide on my cards. For example, I would either use one kit, or I will go through my cards and choose like travel themed and cards that would work with my photos. For this layout, I decided to use my Fiji Craft Soak Up the Sun kit. This made the process so much easier because I had a few cards to choose from, and that way I can just go through them, add them to my spread, and kind of bring the spread together, and I don't have to worry about matching cards and all that good stuff. But anyways, that's how I start my process, and I'm working on day 1, 2, and half of day 3, I guess, because those are our travel days. And I'm going to be adding little embellishments from the printables from this kit. I'm also going to be using a lot of stamping. I'm going to stamp a lot, and I end up using the stamp set that came in the kit, and also some stamps that I pulled out that I felt like would work really well with my vacation spread. Now, my vacation albums are very similar to my regular Project Life layouts. I do the same thing, like adding this 3x3 picture to my card because I like those sunglasses, and I think it said get ready to relax or something like that. So it's really the same process. I don't do anything outrageous or different in my vacation albums. It's just the journaling cards, like the larger pictures, things like that I end up adding. And by the way, that journaling page, I will end up adding a 6x8 photo to back it up. So little things like that, but nothing totally different than what I usually do in my Project Life. But now I want to go back in and start stamping again. And I'm going to stamp out this circle from one of the Feed Your Craft stamp sets. I'm adding it to this other 3x4 photo. This is just a picture of us when we got delayed in China and everybody was doing their own thing, trying to stay awake, I guess. Somebody was reading, one of us was on their laptops, little things like that. And I just wanted to add that stamp, and I'm just going to add it right above my photo. I will also be stamping on that 4x6 picture of the sunrise. I took that picture from the airplane, and I'm going to use some white ink. Now, my white ink is pretty dry and I need a new one, and when I stamp it out, it's going to look uneven, but that doesn't bother me. I'm not even going to worry about it. My project is huge, and I don't want to kind of focus on the imperfections because then it will just take me double the time. I just want to get these pictures documented, so I'm just going to go for it and just leave it alone. It's okay. It does bug me a bit, but I'm not going to worry about it. Now, I decide to use my Kelly Perky timestamp. I don't believe this stamp set is in the shop anymore. It's pretty old, but if it is, I will add the link down below. I decided to go back in and add timestamps to my photos. Because we stopped at so many airports and we got delayed a few times, I thought it would be a good idea to add my timestamps to some of these pictures and some of my journaling cards, just so I can remember when I look through this album. I thought it would be pretty neat. So I'm gonna go back in and add a few timestamps to my cards and pictures, and then I believe I called the spread done. I am done with the left side of my spread, and now I'm going to start working on the right side. I'm going to start with this 3x4 card. I went ahead and fussy cut out a 2x2 card from the Feed Your Craft printables. This is also from the same kit. I just wanted to add a little something to this 3x4 card. I will also be adding some puffy stickers to it. And then I'm gonna grab my Kelly Perky timestamp again because I want to add the time to this 4x6 photo of our luggage. I sometimes take pictures of little things that you might think it's not important, but to me it is. I think when you take a picture of your luggage, this represents a journey you're on. And I think it's important to kind of document the little things and not just the big things that happen when you're traveling. So that's why I took a picture of this, or I took a picture of our luggage. I'm going to stamp out the time we were leaving our home to go on this amazing journey. I'm fussy cutting out the numbers, and I'm just going to add them to my 4x6 photo. When we traveled to the Philippines, it was just my kids and I, and my husband met us in the Philippines because he was already working in the Middle East, so we thought it would make more sense if he just met us there instead of him flying back to the US halfway across the world. So it was just the kids and I took this selfie of us three, and I'm just going to be adding this little stamp and one of the labels from the printable just to bring in some more of that green, and I will be adding some more yellow to my spread because I want to bring in the yellow from the left side of my spread. This 3x4 card says summer getaways, and it has destination and date and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to fill it out. I'm also going to use one of my Kelly Perky stamps to stamp out this little airplane just to give it a little something. And I'm going to be adding our tickets to my spread. Now these tickets are going to kind of cover the 3x4 card above it, but that doesn't bother me. I still want to add them. So I went ahead, trimmed them down a little bit so they can fit into my 3x4 pocket. And I'm backing them up on a 3x4 card so they don't go anywhere and don't shift inside my pocket. Finishing up my spread by adding, I believe I used my Feed Your Craft, I don't remember the name of the stamp set, but it has the days of the week. So I'm going to stamp out Sunday on one of these labels that I printed out from the kit. And this is where I'm going to be adding some yellow to my spread. I'm going to fussy cut it out and add it to this 3x4 picture of my son on his laptop. This is another moment where we're trying to stay awake and keep ourselves busy while we're waiting on our flights. And I finish up the spread by adding some puffy stickers to that 3x4 journey card. That card actually came from an older Feed Your Craft kit. And then I call my spreads done for day 1 and 2. And hopefully next week I will be sharing, I believe, day 3 and 4. Hopefully. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching my process video. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye.